Hello and welcome. This is Eagle Eye 621, and today we are back in my item duping world. We're not here for one of the massive machines you see behind me, like the 1.4 million carpet per hour or 1.6 million rail per hour builds. We're here for a simple gravity block duper. Now we've done a couple of these before, and I'll have some links and some iCards. You may remember that we started with the sand, gravel, and various types of concrete powder. I did remember to put the white one in this time. And then we also did the anvil. That includes all of the damage types as well as the dragon egg. And we are back now to look at how to make this work with scaffolding. As far as I know, this is the first video on being able to dupe scaffolding. So let's grab that. Let's also grab our special block, that being the fence, and some of these helper blocks right here. And before I go and show you how to do this, let me just make a note that this is a special video. This is my 100th video. Some of you may see 99, and that's because there was one that I had to make for the members, being in the join button. And I'm right now sitting at just over 21,000 subscribers, so a huge thank you to everybody that's helped me out. I really did not think I would get anywhere near where I am right now, but as long as I'm on the subject, if you want to take a moment to just scroll down and hit that subscribe button, it would really help the channel out a lot. So now let's head to where we're going to do all this duping, but let me also just give you some rates. For this technique using the scaffolding, you're able to duplicate 31,000 items per hour. Another way to look at that is about 485 stacks per hour, or 18 chests. That is a chest every 3 minutes and 20 seconds, or you're making 8.6 scaffolding per second. Now, in terms of what you can do with this, beyond the obvious use for scaffolding, you can also use scaffolding as a fuel. It does burn 2 items per scaffolding, so you're able to smelt 969 stacks of items per hour, that being 62,000 items per hour, or it's enough to power 172 plus furnaces. And that's just to give you an idea of the type of speed. If Mojang is watching, this is not OP. We're just talking about scaffolding here. So how about a hashtag, please no patch. And let's head over to our end portal where we're going to make this happen. And we are in peaceful mode, just so this guy doesn't bother us here. And I'll tell you why it didn't work with the other methods. And as you can see, and if you've never seen this before, then normally there'd be lava under here. You just want to fill that in with some solid block. And then you want to put a fence right here. That's the block directly between where that lava is and the portal. You can't see it from underneath because of the texture, but there is no block between the portal and this fence. And this does work with some other blocks like walls. You're looking at basically anything that will turn your falling entity into an item. Now, the reason this doesn't work with scaffolding in the normal way, where you would just pile up on the items, and I can pile these all the way up to our marker block, and that would be all the way up here. This is 64 blocks right at this spot. That's our marker. So if we drop back down here, trying not to fall into the portal, if we attempt to break the scaffolding or the block under the scaffolding, and of course I fell in, so let's make a quick little loop, and that being by breaking this block right here, you will see that all the scaffolding has turned into items already when it falls through. So the other way to do it is to stand here and try to press this button. I don't know if you can hear me clicking the mouse, but you can't just place scaffolding up against a wall like this. So in terms of the number of items that we have duped, you'll know that I started out with 64. I caught a couple of the items falling, and when we drop through, we have a couple of items, but there's nothing else here. And then when we go back, if we go all the way back up, you will see that some of them did get stuck up top. So we can wander around. We can try and collect all of these items. And we should end up with just about 64. Sometimes you do lose one. So best case scenario, you don't end up duplicating any items. Worst case, you actually lose some. So now how do we make this work with scaffolding? And for that, we want to come down here and use a little bit of a measuring trick. So we're going to put a solid block right above where the fence is. So you can see that's directly in the center. And right here is where our fence is. Now we want to come up a little bit. So let's place a couple of scaffolding to come up. And we want to be able to drop scaffolding at this level. So by way of reference, there are 5 air blocks. So you can see that's 1, 2, and 3. This is the 4th, 5th, and this is where you want to drop it. That's 6 blocks up, or with 5 air blocks in the middle. But now you're going to want to dig out a little bit, and I've happily and helpfully already excavated a little bit. Now you're going to want to place your scaffolding going out, but be careful, you don't want it to be at this level. So we're going to go up one more, and that way, well, you'll see in 1 second. Now we're going to go out, and you'll notice that at some point the scaffolding will fall, because scaffolding needs supports every so often number of blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the 7th block needs to be a support block. And there's something very special that happens when it falls like that. So now that we know where that block is, of course I did happily have a helpful marker there as well, we can come back and break all of these, and break that as well. And we do want to just jump through so you can see that there is nothing here right now. There are no items, there is no scaffolding, and these are just simple teleport blocks. They don't do anything. And we're going to make another loop all the way around and come back here. And now we're going to use this platform to go up and out. So we need to come up one more, just like that. And now we can start going out. And you'll see that when we get to the end, that 7th block, it falls. And that falling entity right there, see if I can let you see what's going on, turns into an entity right as it hits. Just like that. Maybe hard to see on YouTube, but you can see the block goes through and it turns into an entity as it goes through. And now what you have on the other side are duplicated blocks. And just to show you that this does work, let's go back and count a little bit. Counting with eagle eye, back in style. So we're going to come over here and let's just drop 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we've dropped 16 through. Let's get rid of all of the items that are in our inventory right now. And when we jump through, you'll see I have more than 16. I have 31, plus this one right here makes 32. So we have duplicated all of that scaffolding. Now, I did say they would talk about some speed strats here. So let's talk about speed strats, because that was definitely not 31,000 per hour at a rate. So the first thing is if you do not have an auto clicker. I know an auto clicker, some people have difficulty trying to get one for their mouse, for their computer. I would recommend whatever brand mouse you have, you just look up the manufacturer. They may have something. It's a good place to start. Now we're going to put a fence down in front and behind so that we're lined up in the middle. Now we can take this and we're going to have to push this back by one more block. Just like this. And going up one. So now our 7th block drops here. this spot right here. So if we just hold down our mouse key, you will see that we don't have anything too special, but this does let you go AFK at, let's call it 1/3 speed. So this is about 10,000, 11,000 items per hour. If you don't have a auto clicker, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to go into your options, you're going to go into your controls, and you're going to want to rebind your placing key. So you click right here and you pick something else. I'm just going to make it L. And now something interesting is going to happen. And when we hold our L key, let me make sure you can see this by removing that block as well. You can see that sometimes we get more than one. Now, you won't get all three. You can see that one right at the end there looks like it gets stuck, but you do pretty consistently get two of them to drop in the normal time that it would have taken you to drop one. So this is about 20,000 bamboo, or not bamboo, scaffolding per hour. It depends on how lucky you get. As I said, you can see that sometimes the blocks stick. That's not visual, they are actually stuck. The game doesn't really understand what's happening to that block. But it is much faster than just holding down the mouse key. But now if you have some auto click abilities, we're going to go back and we're going to change our controls back to the normal settings. What happens when you use an auto clicker is you consistently get all three. And you can see how fast they are dropping. So now let's do a little experiment so you can see that this does in fact work. Drop through and collect all of these items. Make sure there's nothing left. Now let's do another loop. Let's come back here and let's go back up to this spot in here. And let's take 3 stacks and delete everything else. We can go into survival mode, so I don't need to count that high because it's also way too fast. And you can see that we are actually doing 3 at a time by seeing what's happening as the inventory slides. And then we can move on to the next stack as we blow by these exceptionally quickly. And our last stack. So when we jump through the portal, if we are successfully duplicating these blocks, we should see 6 stacks. So let's see what happened. And of course we have our original 3. We have 2 more minus that one for the third, but that's right here. So we just duplicated 3 stacks of scaffolding that quickly. Now, in terms of the last little trick that you may have seen in the last video, the way that you're going to want to do this in survival is to get a chest with some items in it. You're going to want whatever you're going to duplicate. You're going to want some blocker items. Let's get a chest, and let's get a pickaxe, and then we'll also take some stone just to make it a little bit easier. You can set up a little area right here where you can fill this with all of your scaffolding. You do want to make sure that you don't have any other scaffolding in your inventory though. So let's throw those out. Let's throw these out so I can delete everything. Let's grab these back. You can take your seeds and you're going to want to block all of your slots. It doesn't have to be seeds, it can be any blocker item that you want. You had some stone here just to make things full, but we'll just make this go nice and easy. We're going to make this a full stack just to get every little bit that you can. And then you see we have a full stack right here. And by a full stack, I mean a full chest. And now when we break this, And I need to go into survival, or else it will delete all of the items. You can see that the scaffolding will just fall down next to my character. And now we can fast place, as you can see at the end of the screen. But all of these scaffolding are just going to sit on the ground waiting for us to pick them up. And as you can go through a chest in about 3 minutes and 20 seconds, there is no risk of these items despawning. You will get to them in plenty of time. You can also make this a little more automated if you want to by setting up a observer clock to just drop items to you while you go AFK for a couple of minutes and just fast drop all of these items. And then there's no reason to sit here and do this for 3 minutes. Let's get rid of these, and you will see that even in that very brief time, you can stack a lot of scaffolding very quickly. Now that you have all of your scaffolding, you make one more trip, and you find your way back to your main base to do whatever it is that you wanted to do with all of this scaffolding. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like. For more videos like this, do be sure to subscribe. And if you found it interesting, maybe even consider sharing it with your friends. We also do note that YouTube has given me a join button. It's their equivalent of Patreon. If you're interested in seeing that mystery 100th video, there is a button right down next to the subscribe, which you should click on anyways, where you can see what kind of perks are offered if you're interested in supporting me in that way. Thanks for stopping by.